life, it's about being real. It's about taking care of your own business.
Real cases, a passion for justice. Judge Joe Brown.
In the courtroom today, a father confronts the men who tore up his daughter's muscle car. Mark Ashley says his daughter's friends are responsible for damage to her Firebird. Defendants Adam Burden and Phil Miller claim Mark's daughter is also responsible for the damaged car. Now, here's Judge Joe Brown.
What sort of vehicle are we talking about here?
It was a '93 Pontiac Firebird that I had purchased for my daughter for her 16th birthday.
Young lady, I take it that you got permission to drive the vehicle on that evening, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You go to where?
I went to Philip's house.
Who's Philip?
That'd be me, sir.
What's going on at Philip's house?
He had a couple of friends over, and we were just hanging out at his house.
What time of evening was this?
It was late at night.
What do you mean late at night?
It was 8 o'clock in the evening till morning time.
What do you mean morning time?
7 o'clock.
A.M.?
Yes.
You didn't like that, did you, sir?
No, sir, not at all.
Go ahead.
Well, Phil and Adam were talking about how they were hungry, and
What time was this?
this was 11:30 midnight, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam's like, oh, well, let's take your car, and Phil agreed.
Take whose car?
My car. And I was like, no, y'all can take your truck.
So you were going with them?
No, sir.
How many other young ladies were over there besides you?
It was me and my best friend,
How many young men were over there?
him and Phil.
So, since you were reluctant to allow the use of the vehicle that your father owned, how did they wind up getting it?
They constantly asked and asked and asked. And I finally said, okay, listen, I laid 3 rules down. I told Philip, I handed him the keys, I said, you buckle your seatbelt, you drive safe, and you do not let Adam drive.
Why not Adam?
Number 1, I barely know the guy, and number 2, that's what a lot of people know him for, reckless driving.
Daddy told you not to do this, hadn't he?
Yes, sir.
But you did it anyway.
Yes, sir.
So they go.
There you go.
What time did they leave?
Built about 12:30. And then they come about 15 minutes later. I walk outside. Adam's driving the car, so I'm a little frustrated. And they tell me, do not smell your car. I look in, I smell it. I don't know what burnt oil smells like. I figured it was burnt tire from pulling an e-brake, so I didn't overreact. And they neglected to tell me that the car, that they slammed it into the pavement.
What do you mean
They
slammed
hit a
it into
dip
the pavement?
going 85, 90 miles an hour.
They told you 85.
Yes, sir.
This
They
was in a
bottomed
residential area.
That's a little over, but...
So what happens?
The oil pan there's a hole in the oil.
A hole?
A hole. That's how hard they hit. And like the whole bumper, underneath the bumper got scratched up. You can see paint ripped off. And they neglected to tell me whenever they came home anything that happened.
So it's sitting out there until you decide to leave at 7.
Yes.
What happens?
Me and my friend go outside. We see something under my car. Didn't know what it was.
By now it's daylight.
Yes. And I asked the boys, I was like, okay, listen, now's your time to tell me what's going on. And they're like, it's okay, your car's fine, your car's fine.
Why did you have occasion to ask them about the condition of the car at that point in time?
Because I knew that they were keeping something from me, but I didn't know exactly what it was.
Now, why are you just getting roused up to go home at 7 a.m.?
Dad was going to be gone till Monday, but we wanted to go home early anyways.
How about Mom?
Mom thought I was at Alicia's house.
I hope you caught it when they found out. Good. Now, what had been consumed that night? Because one of them says that's one of his defenses. He was full of it to the point where he wasn't responsible.
There was alcohol there. I was not drunk. Me and Alicia were not drinking. And
Well, who was drinking?
the 2 boys were drinking, but they were not drunk. I would not have handed my keys
You didn't
over.
pay attention to it. What was being consumed?
Beer.
How much beer?
Not that much.
What do you mean not that much?
2, 3 cans maybe?
A piece?
No. I mean,
Oh,
that's how many were on
come
the table.
now. There's
I
plenty
didn't
if you're
drink.
gonna drink.
I was not drinking, sir.
You might not have been. Now, let's get to the bad part. First, do you have pictures of the damage? Do you have an estimate what it's gonna cost to restore all of this?
Here's the 2 estimates for the replacement of the engine. A estimate for the front bumper that needs to be repainted. These are pictures of the damage of the bumper, the damage of the underneath of the vehicle.
And the engine nicely drained while it was sitting there for several hours.
Yes, sir. Also, Your Honor, they hit the dip so hard that it busted the radiator mount and busted the mount for the battery. And if you look at the one picture of the...
they really whacked it. I see where the oil plug was.
Yes, sir.
Look at
The
that.
one picture of the tailpipe, Your Honor, if you look at that, you could see the oil that was spewed up onto the rear end and the tailpipe because they continued on their joyride even after they slammed the vehicle
They
into the
got
ground.
excited by the sparks.
I guess. And I have a map also of the joyride, and I was able to follow what I call the blood trail of the vehicle on the trip that was taken.
We'll be right back with Judge. We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The defendants in this case admit that the car in question bottomed out, but they claim it was the plaintiff's daughter who drove the car with no oil. Let's take a look.
All right, let's go to the defendants. Which one of you wants to go first?
I'll go first, actually, because there's quite a few things I have to disagree with there. Number one, the car was kind of already rattling.
So it rattled. So what?
That's beside the point.
Yes, it is.
Well, you know, earlier you were talking about how, she said that we're begging for the keys. To the
yeah.
best of my recollection, I asked her maybe once, twice, tops, and she handed them over very willingly because I think she
That's
wanted the
not true.
taquitos as much as I
Hold
did.
on.
I didn't eat,
Oh,
Your Honor.
stop. Hold on.
I mean, I have no
You've
reason
gotten
to...
enough trouble.
Never told me.
Chill over there. Go ahead.
She never told me I couldn't drive either.
She said if I drove there, he could drive back.
Now, which
not
one of you is the one? Stop that. Which one of you is the one that says he was too full of it?
That'd be you.
So you think, he is telling me he thinks that I was too intoxicated to drive the car.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know,
What did you had to drink?
I'd had a couple of beers.
A couple of beers. There's always a couple of beers.
Well,
now, please don't tell me that.
Well, if you're asking me how many beers I drank over the course of the night,
Yes.
that's a different story.
How many?
Several.
A lot. What about you? Did you drive from the house?
No, I drove back from.
You drove back. You drove from the house. What did you do?
Drove very safely, and the car arrived upon
How did this happen?
I handed the keys to him. who
Oh, now
supposedly
he
wasn't
did it,
drunk.
right? Okay.
And I'm the drunk one, by the way. He's the one who's hot rodding the car, and he's calling me drunk.
All right. Now, what happened to the vehicle?
Well, I was driving it, hit the bump, and
It was
And
more
you were
about
doing 85
yes, no.
75.
and 75. This is a residential district, for God's sake. What would you have done if you killed somebody?
Probably cried.
No, you'd go to jail. It's vehicular homicide. And by the way, you'd be an accessory. Now, you hit this bump, so you just keep driving. Did you check to see what was going on under the bottom of the vehicle?
No.
It was still running.
You didn't check, and it kept running. Well, what do you think's going to happen when the oil drains out of the engine?
We didn't know the oil had leaked
I
out.
didn't know that busted the oil pan.
We parked the car in the middle of
You've
the night.
never done this.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
What do you think's going to happen here, and why haven't you paid for this vehicle, both of them?
On my statement, it says, I don't see how being passenger to an idiot, being accessory to a moron is going to make you pay
You
for
gave him the keys, didn't you?
Oh, with
He
her
neglected to
permission.
tell
Now,
me.
hold on. You gave him the keys, didn't you?
That was my instructions.
Okay, what about you?
Why aren't you paying?
Why? I don't feel that I should pay for my share that we originally intended, because all I damaged was the oil pan.
Well, you put a hole in the oil pan, oil drains out of said engine, and it's ruined. And apparently from where this occurred, looking at this map, you drove it long enough to ruin it on your own getting back home. And why didn't you tell her about it?
We were a little hungover, sir.
Hung over, yes. Well, I tell you what you've got here is a situation where the defendants are jointly liable. There's clear negligent operation of the vehicle. By the way, I hope you made her wait a little while before she got to drive
Oh, yes,
again.
sir. She was grounded. She does not have possession of the vehicle. I had to learn that she's not responsible enough for the vehicle.
Yeah, don't give it back. Now, let's see how much this is going to cost the young man. Tell you what I'm going to do. Because we aren't exactly sure of the amount it's going to cost you to get that bumper taken care of.
Yes, sir.
The expended sum that you paid for actual repair work on the vehicle, that's $31.87, and I'll round that off to $3,400 just in case we run out of room with that estimate.
Thank you.
That'll be a joint judgment against them. In other words, whichever one has money, you can go get it
Right.
from that one. Okay. All right, now, lesson learned.
Court is
Thank
in
you,
recess.
Plaintiffs, I'll ask you to step out the door to your right. Guys, you
The plaintiff's daughter admits her mistakes, and her father gets the repairs.
I really do feel pretty bad for some of the things I did and some of the choices, but, you know, it happens, and we'll pay it. We'll get it taken care of.
We did act immature, and we do apologize for that.
If she didn't learn a lesson through all of this, then this was for nothing.
What have you learned through this?
Not to trust boys with cars.